The funny thing is, before I decided to make this video, my brother told me that I shouldn't do it, and he said that if I would do it, that I should try to narrate it from a third person's perspective and, in a sense, interview myself and others. And I was like, why would I do that? What's the fun in that? You know, I'm supposed to voice my opinion, freedom of speech. And he just laughed. He's like, freedom of speech? You think that exists around here? And he was talking about Qatar Foundation, and that's coming from a Texas A&M student. And I just laughed and I said, you know, I've been in Northwestern for 5 years. If I can't voice my opinion in this time, where everything is, you know, on fire, and everything that I've been holding in my heart for 4 or 5 years I can't let go, then when will I? So today I'm going to be talking about what's going on with Northwestern in Qatar, the updates, why people are mad. I'm going to be talking about facts, mainly facts. I'm going to be referring back to articles and tweets and so on. And obviously I'm going to add a part which is my personal experience, but anybody else's personal experience, unless documented or unless tweeted or is in an article online, I'm trying to stay away from that because you never know. So today the first thing I'm going to be talking about is favoritism within the student body. I joined Northwestern in 2014. I remember my first shock was when I was denied the trip, which was called Global Media Trip, in which we would go to New York and Dubai to visit a lot of media outlets and so on and try to gain experience. I remember back then we would have these quick interviews with 5 people, would interview 5 people, and you'd have 1 minute and there's a set of questions and you grade each person out of 5. And I remember back then there was a student that came and I asked him, like, why would you like to go on this trip and so on? And the student replied saying, oh, you know, I've been to New York a lot, but I really want to go biking. And I was like, okay, but what do you think you would experience from this trip and so on? I'd try to go deeper, and the student would give me the same reply. To be honest, I just really want to go biking. I love the weather and it's going to be in the summertime and so on. And I was like, whatever, gave them a nice 1 out of 5, moved on. My first shock was that I got rejected from this trip, which was okay because I never take it personally. You know, maybe other people had better interviews, better, you know, whatever it is. But it was to my surprise, I seen like a lot of the people around me that I know like really worked hard on their applications and definitely did well on their interviews get rejected too. And then this person got accepted and another person got accepted and another person got accepted. And then I applied to another trip and I got rejected, and these same people were getting accepted over and over for literally 3-4 years, whether it's spring trip, winter trip, summer trip, global media, everything. And since that first 1.5 years, I was like, I'm never applying to anything again. In the beginning, I wanted to rage. I was like, you know, I want to voice my opinion. I want to do this. I want to do that. You know, I'm still a freshman or a sophomore. But then everybody gave me this, you know, calm down. And my closed mindset started from there. I was like, you know, I'm never going to apply to anything anymore. There's no point. I was demotivated. It was obvious there's favoritism. All right, the second thing I want to talk about that a lot of people have not been talking about, maybe because a lot of students are newer in the university, the story of Osama al-Loony. Osama al-Loony, back in, I think it was 2013, when the Villaggio fire happened, he literally picked up his camera, went to the site, like any regular journalist, to take a video of what was happening. He got arrested for over a week. What did Northwestern do? Nothing. So this is the article that was posted on Daily Northwestern. It was talking about Osama al-Loony, or Osama Hamid, saying when he sought help from the university, Greg Bergira, a UQ Director of Student Affairs, told him Northwestern does not help or support criminals. He declined to comment, and he also said that he is quite an aggressive reporter and that not on our campus, not in Education City, not our issue. So they literally washed their hands from him. This is our student. And for what reason? Nothing. Is this the freedom of speech that we're talking about? The third point that I'm going to be talking about is when we opened our new building. So 2016, I transferred to Canada. I went to university there. Didn't work out. I came back to Northwestern Qatar. We had just opened our new building. I was surprised, you know. world-class building, nobody can talk. Literally, we have everything except food, a cafeteria. I mean, we have a small cafe or so on with some light beverages and coffee, but it's not food. So regularly as students, we protested and we voiced our concerns and we said we want a real cafeteria. And when our student union reached out to Dean Dennis, and through certain people that were sitting in the meeting, Dean Dennis said, "I'm not obligated to feed the students. This isn't a refugee camp." The university later, I remember 2-3 days later, sent an email saying there's talabat for food delivery for whoever is technically indirectly complaining about the food. Again, pettiness level 100. Fourth thing I want to address, which a lot of you have already seen on Twitter, is Professor Jocelyn Mitchell's blog that she wrote back in 2008 when she first came to Doha. A lot of derogatory terms, a lot of disrespect towards whether the Qatari culture, people here. She first thing called Qatar Qatardid, very disrespectful. She said the ratio of men to women is 8-2, with the ratio of ugly women to not so ugly women being 9-1. Very offensive, obviously. But to be very fair, she has apologized or issued an apology and said that anyone that needs to talk to her can talk to her. I am not going to judge and say maybe it's coming out of pure heart and people change or so on, or that she was just trying to be funny or whatever. We're not all angels. But what did the university do about this back then? Or when professors are brought in, are these things being checked upon, so on? I know I've heard about people that have brought this up before, but it just died out. Again, that's the question. The fifth thing I'm going to be talking about, which is, to be honest, the thing that did bring this whole uproar, is Professor Justin Martin's tweet saying, after Muslim students at Northwestern University were upset and Qatar's graduation was in Ramadan fasting hours, the American non-Muslim dean said publicly they can go to hell. Equally sad, what I heard from students, they couldn't tweet/report the story as they're afraid of the admin. This is just straight disrespect towards our religion, or my religion as a Muslim. Very unacceptable. But the question is, what can we really do about this? So over the last couple of days, obviously with the uproar and so on, a statement or at least an apology would be expected. But what what Dean Dennis said was, statement from Northwestern University in Qatar. Over the weekend, a series of tweets targeting the dean and members of the staff and faculty at Northwestern in Qatar was posted. The statements were based on comments and blogs that were made some time ago, supporting the well-being of our community, faculty, staff, and students. Ironically, students last, is our highest priority, and we take actions like this very seriously. We will continue to monitor the situation, focus on the language being used, and offer our support when needed. No apology, no nothing. So first of all, in March 2017, he said we were ungrateful bastards, and this is documented. Then he said this is not a refugee camp for him to feed us. And then he disrespects our religion and goes on to say to hell with them. What can we do about this? That's the question. To me personally, Majid al-Naimi had a nice hashtag that he put, hashtag impeach Dennis. I think we should all unite and use that. And end of the day, I'm personally calling for all of us to say Dean Dennis out. Whether he's already going to leave, whether whatever it is, I don't think he should sit in our university not another day, to be honest. The last thing I'm going to mention has to do with my personal experience in university. So as I told you guys earlier, after the first year or year and a half, I really lost hope and stopped applying to everything. But spring semester of 2019, I said, I got a year left in university. Why don't I be the change? Why don't I change certain things that I didn't like, that I went through over the years? So I applied for the NSP co-chair, or the new student program, as a co-chair. Indy helped me. She said you should apply, went through it with me, and I was accepted. I've done work for months on months, conducted interviews with students, whatever. And approaching June 2019, I got a suspension letter from the university because one of my professors graded one of my classes as Y, or ungraded, which counts as an F until changed. So it was an obvious mistake because it was the professor's job to change it, but he took time. And as he changed it, and my grades were good, my GPA was fine, and they told me you're off probation, which you were on last semester, and you're good to go. But obviously, since certain people have certain agendas, I was told from one of the higher ups in the student affairs that, oh, we're sorry, you're out of NSP co-chair. And I'm like, what do you mean, why? And they said, you're suspended. I said, but that's a mistake. She said, no, it's not a mistake. So I sent an email from student records showing that I'm not on suspension and that I'm on good academic standing, which was literally mentioned in the email. So when she said that, she said, oh, okay, my bad, it's not a mistake. But then I was told that I'm still going to be kicked out. And I'm like, why? And they were like, your GPA is not high enough. And I'm like, what do you mean? I was chosen when I was on probation, but now that I'm off probation and on good academic standing, you guys are telling me I'm kicked off? It didn't make sense to me. And personally, a lot of you might take this as an opinion and not facts, and I'm okay with that because this last part is from my personal experience. I know this happened because certain people are not doing their jobs. As a captain of a basketball team for a couple of years now, I've faced a lot of issues. I'm a person that voices my opinions or voices the concerns of all of my players. So when I come and say, oh, you're not doing your job, 1, 2, 3, certain people get mad, although they know they're not doing their job. So for me, because I was always doing that, this person took advantage and decided to kick me off for no reason whatsoever. And I was kicked off of NSP co-chair, although I worked months on months, and I was supposed to get paid at the end of that work term. But obviously I was cut short. The conclusion of the story is that this doesn't mean that Northwestern University in Qatar is a very bad university or so on. I've met some of the best professors, best mentors, a lot of great students, and there is always bad and good. But as students, we're trying to voice our opinions. Through this video, I'm just telling my story. And maybe it would inspire other people to speak up, and for the generations ahead of us to stand up for themselves. Because at the end of the day, I'm paying money. I'm here to get a good education. I'm here to learn. I'm here to gain experience and so on. But things like this, we shouldn't keep quiet. We're taught freedom of speech. Obviously, at times it's but we'll get there.